In today's episode of Volcanic Sandbox, we get into basic create, and we also happen to make our very first creativity essence. With that being said, let's get into today's fun episode. So I guess to get started here, to start the next chapter, we're gonna go ahead and have to get this andesite alloy. But to get that, we're gonna need wheat, and honestly, we're probably going to need to set up a wheat farm because we're going to need a lot of that. So we have a few methods of how we can get a ton of dirt. For example, we can use the dirt dust that we get from doing the hoe on the dust. We can use that method, or we can do the method with the coarse dirt and hoeing trick, and or we can buy it in the shop. But to be honest, I'm not going to buy it in the shop because the shop is honestly kind of expensive. For 64 dirt, I need to turn in 3 of these books, which if you remember last time, these books are very expensive because we need the ULA books. Yeah, this recipe here is all we have access to. So the ULA books and the purple dye, and like it's just a whole bunch of mess. So I would rather either do the whole coarse dirt or, you know, sitting here and sifting a bunch of dust, which honestly, that might be a really good route to go, to be honest, considering we have a ton of cobblestone now and sticks are literally free. I think that might be the method. Alrighty, now that I've got quite a bit of dirt here, what we're gonna go ahead and do is do something like this and create a basic Minecraft farm like so. This is actually really exciting. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're basically gonna expand this out all the way to about here. And then I'm going to fill this with seeds, and I'm going to twerk my way all the way up. Also, in between now and last clip, I also happen to upgrade our cobble gen to the tier 2. So we have 2 of them now. So that way we can make a ton of cobblestone very quickly. And it wasn't too bad. Just need to take some compressed cobblestone around a tier 1, and that gets us to tier 2 for now. But we're going to need a ton of wheat to get things going here. Pro tip, I think you can also vein mine hoe. You can. Oh, dude, that's gonna save so much time. And then I think we have only 1 seed. That's not ideal now, is it? With our wheat farm ready to go ahead and harvest, we can go ahead and harvest this bad boy like so. Relatively simple and easy. All we have to do now is get ourselves some cobblestone, which is gonna be right over here, 2 stacks like so, and then take those guys like so and so in any sort of crafting grid and combine them with the wheat, and then that's gonna get us a stack of andesite alloy, which is going to go ahead and get us into the making some progress quest line, which is really good. So it's time to get buffed. Time to make a hand crank. Interesting. We're going to need some sort of wood and whatnot, and an andesite alloy, which thankfully we actually have quite a bit of wood like so, and we can go ahead and do that. Now we have ourselves a hand crank. Beautiful. Where is this going? Let's find out. Okay, so we have 2 paths that we have to go down. We can either make a fango burr and or the grinder. I think which one is going to be more important right now? Iron filings, which we get from gravel. Okay, and I guess they're both as equally important as each other, but I think going down this route is going to be a bit more better. So let's go ahead and make our very first grindstone. So to get the millstone, we're going to need to go ahead and make a cogwheel, which is going to need a shaft, and shafts are actually relatively simple to make. All we need is 2 andesite alloys like so, and then that's going to get us some shafts. Now we are going to need to go ahead and make some cogwheels and a few other things as well, but cogwheels are relatively cheap and easy to make like so. To go ahead and make the casing, what we're going to go ahead and do is get ourselves a axe like so, and then what we're going to go ahead and do is place down ourselves a log, and we're going to go ahead and strip it, and then we're going to go ahead and take our andesite alloy wherever that went, there it is, and right click it, and then that's going to go ahead and get us our very first casing, and then we can just go ahead and pick that up with our axe with no problem. And I believe that's everything that we need to go ahead and make the millstone. I don't think it's that expensive. Yeah, the millstone is actually relatively cheap. We are going to need some sort of stone, which we can go ahead and do by cooking up some cobblestone like so. Not in a crafting table, of course, in a furnace. I'm being being silly. And that should be everything that we need, minus the gravel, which we can go ahead and get by breaking down some cobblestone. Now, with the millstone, what we can go ahead and do is place it down, and we can go ahead and use ourselves a cogwheel. Let's go ahead and craft another cogwheel. All we gotta do is get ourselves some sticks and a shaft like so. Place it down next to the grindstone like so. Then go ahead and place our hand crank right on top of that, and then that should be good to go now. And all we have to do is basically put the gravel into this guy right here and hit this hand crank. This is going to take so much of our hunger as well, so it's not really ideal, to be honest, but that is what we have access to at this current moment. I know this next part of the quest is gonna take me forever because I have to make 9 iron nuggets, and 1 iron nugget is 4 iron filings, which is 1 gravel at a 55% chance. So I'm gonna need a lot of hunger, which, yeah, I guess what we could do is we could make a water wheel or something, but also why not just make a bunch of bread, because we have access to literally infinite food, right? If I harvest all this and we get like a ton of wheat as well, we could just make literally like infinite bread as well. Yeah, look at all that bread I just made. Oh, beautiful. Bread is life. Okay, after grinding out some iron here, we have about 40 of the filings. Now I could grind out more if I would like, but I don't think I'm going to, because, hear me out, I actually might need to, because we only have 1 iron ingot here, but also in the quest we get 3 extras. So I'm wondering, we could indeed make the hammer from immersive engineering to get the plates that we need, but I wonder if I can also potentially make the press. Now the press might be a little too expensive, so this needs 2 iron here, but how much does the mechanical press require? Because if it requires a block, yeah, so I think the best way to go then is definitely going to be the engineer's hammer. Now we only have 4 iron ingots right now. I guess I could in theory get a little bit more grinding going, get more iron filings, and then make it, so that's not too bad. So to get things going here though, we are going to need some string, which I don't believe we've made yet, but the way that we get string is by breaking down trees and getting the silkworms. We have 9 silkworms here, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's get a bunch of trees growing. Honestly, this is probably really dangerous doing it right here next to the lava, but you know, when in Rome, just send it, I guess. There we go. We'll let that grow out, and what I actually might do is, just to protect my assets a little bit, is kind of block this in and prevent the sparks from hitting the trees and, you know, getting it caught on fire. Now that this tree has been fully silkified, all it's gonna do is break it down like so, and it's gonna give us a bunch of silkworms, but it's also gonna give us a bunch of string, which is super nice. Okay, with everything all nice and good, let's go ahead and make another 2 iron ingots like so. Let's grab our iron like so, also grab some sticks like so. We're gonna need also some string, and let's go ahead and start by making ourselves a engineer's hammer. And then we can do what we can do after we do that is take our iron plates like so and do that. And I believe we're gonna need some of that andesite alloy, that axe, and we're also going to need to strip down some logs. I think I'm just gonna do a couple at a time here because it's gonna be relatively easy to do that. I wish I could vein mine strip, but I can't do that, unfortunately, but that's fine. We go ahead and do something like that, and then all we have to do is break this down like so. And let's go ahead and make our very first machine, which is going to be the saw. So we're gonna need this guy right here, which is gonna be relatively easy like so. Oh, I didn't even see this recipe right here. Oh, I just wasted 3 iron, and I don't think I can unconvert these from plates, which is kind of not ideal, but you know what, we'll roll with it for now, honestly. And what we're gonna go ahead and do is also get the encased fan, because I did notice that the encased fan does have a pretty neat recipe. All we need is 8 stone cooked up in a furnace, and that's then going to convert with an andesite alloy into the propeller that we need. And then we just need a shaft as well, and that should be that set of quests done. And this is not done yet because we haven't gotten this yet done. You know what, while I'm waiting, I believe I have a extra clay. We do, so we go ahead and just convert this like so, and then that should now be done for that quest. Okay, now that that's done, let's go ahead and convert 4 of those into buttons like so, and then let's go ahead and make the propeller like so, and then make the encased fan like so. Beautiful. And then we are gonna have to make a second tier cobble gen again, so let's go ahead and make that. That should be relatively simple. Just gonna need a bucket of lava like so, and then a couple of pieces of wood like so. And oh, we're gonna also need a piece of glass as well. Do I have spare sand? I do not. That means I'm gonna have to make some, and I don't think I have a hammer. I do. There's the glass that we need, and then let's go ahead and make a cobblestone generator. Very basic tier 1. I know it sucks that I have to remake this again, but it is what it is, right? So cobble gen tier 1 like so. Put the buckets in like so. Beautiful. That's gonna be a quest complete, and I believe I can just pick this one up, and it should be relatively simple and an easy quest complete. There we go. There it is. And then let's put that back down to keep things rolling here. And the next set of quests is going to want us to make the essence of creativity, which is going to be interesting. So we have to make another one of these books. Hopefully this is the last time I'm going to have to make this book, but EULA paper. Okay, so this is actually relatively simple to make, actually. And I think I have most of the things that we need for this, right? We have the papers. We actually have tons of paper from the gravel stuff that we did earlier, and we're gonna need some bamboo. Now we don't have enough purple dye, but that should be fine, right? All we have to do is cook up some more of that cobblestone and get that stone rolling, hopefully. And I believe we are gonna need more legal paper. I guess while we're waiting for that to cook, we will just harvest some of these guys. Okay, let's go ahead and place down all this stone, and then let's go ahead and break it down with the cobblestone pickaxe like so. We only got 4 out of the 8, but that's okay. So we only need, well, that's actually perfect amount, I think, actually. And all we gotta do is make those papers. So there we go. And there is our book recipe. So 4 books. Is that all we need? So we need 4 books for the recipe. No, we need 5 books, right? Because we have the one in the middle. And then we're gonna take this and then surround this by legal paper like so, and then make those 4 books, and then we should be good to go. And I think I can only craft this here. Yeah, I can only craft this here, unfortunately. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is put down the 4 EULA books like so, and then the book in the middle. You know what? No, that's not how that works. Right, so we have to put the 4 EULA books, then the 4 dye like so, and then the book, and then there we go. The last book of creativity is been achieved, because I believe all I gotta do now is take this saw, and I believe the way this works is if I place this down here, I can put my hand crank on the side of it like so, and I can toss this on there, and it should allow me to cut up this book into essence of creativity. And we get 2 of these, right? So we can now use these to go ahead and dupe them relatively easily with books. Oh, dude, this is game changer. Literally game changer, because all I have to do now is take these and do that and do this, and now we have 2 books. And now these 2 books could then go ahead and be grounded up into even more books. It is a infinite feedback loop, which is amazing. Alrighty, with that now done, I believe we can go ahead and complete this quest now, which is actually really nice because it wasn't hot enough. All right, so it wants us to get another iron here. You know what? That's not iron. That is iron infused with creativity, which is going to require us to get iron plus a essence of creativity, which thankfully we have this awesome recipe where we can duplicate these relatively cheaply. And you know what I'm gonna actually do, just in case, because I don't want to end up kind of like gypsing myself and, you know, losing everything. I'm gonna make a quick chest, and I'm gonna go ahead and plop that, like, I guess like here or something, at least one of these essences, so that way I know I can go ahead and dupe them in the future if I so happen to run out or something, right? So that way we're not gonna absolutely kind of like shaft ourselves or anything like that. And let's go ahead and get ourselves another iron ingot here. Honestly, that sucks that I wasted that iron, man. That really does kind of suck. Okay, so I am currently finishing up getting the rest of this iron really quickly, but I'm also thinking about starting the next quest here, which is going to require us to make the tin generator, which is going to require us to make this generator base, and then we're going to need this 4 infused iron of creativity and smooth stone, which we're currently working on. Beautiful. Now I guess I do gotta finish this. I guess I don't have to finish it. I can just click this and get the 32 filings like so. And that's only gonna get us 8, but I believe we have a spare one like so, and we can go ahead and use that spare one to go ahead and make the full ingot like so, and then the creativity essence like so, and there is that. And we are gonna need some bone meal. Now to get bone meal, we have plenty of it actually, but to get it, all we have to do is till grass, and then that should get us some bone meal, but we don't have to worry about that right now. So we can go ahead and make this as soon as I get some more cobblestone in my inventory. So the generator base like so. Let me also make sure that that got that quest complete. Beautiful, because we definitely don't want to get shafted that way either. But generator base like so, and then let's go ahead and make our very first generator, which is going to be a tin generator. So if I do something like that, beautiful, that is going to go ahead and get us the tin generator like so. And I believe if we look in the shop, we should be able to say complete that, and then I believe turn in 8 infused iron to get a iron generator. You know what, we should probably do that. But that means more grinding. Okay, so what we're gonna go ahead and do is turn our iron nuggets into iron like so, use 2 of our creativity essences like so, make 8 of those, and then come over to our quest book and claim this guy here for the iron generator. Beautiful. Now the way these work is you place them down like so, and you place the iron one as well like so, and over time these guys will generate the ore, and then we can break it to go ahead and get the raw material out of it, which is going to be really good, especially with this iron one here. As you can see, it generated iron, and also now we have tin, which is going to give us access to go ahead and cook this. We can also get more iron generators if we would like, because we have all this essence of creativity, which is really solid. Unfortunately guys, it is time to wrap up today's episode of Volcanic Sandbox. With that being said, if you guys did enjoy today's episode of Volcanic Sandbox, please do me a huge favor, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, ding dong that notification bell, become a part of the Council of Elder. As always guys, I love you, I don't leave you. Till next time, we're going to be diving into create some more